Hello everyone. I wonder what your answer is to the question we so often hear today. What kind of a world do you want? I want a world full of people who are healthy in body, mind and spirit. Now I have here a diocesan paper called The Welcome. It is the June edition of last year, and in here there is an article that says, "Act on climate crises now," says Pope Francis. And further on in the article, he makes this astounding statement. He had called to a summit some of the great minds in the world. They were scientists, doctors and lawyers, the head of the oil companies and the petroleum companies and others. And he made this statement to them, but he made it also to you and to me. And he said, we are threatening the very future of humanity. He said, time is running out. It could happen next year, next month, next week. And sure didn't it happen with COVID? And now it's still happening. We are threatening the very future of humanity. And he wants us to act now. Have that change of thought now. Well, I know that each one of you have your own thoughts about that statement. I have two thoughts. One is the disasters of a suffering planet, and two, the hope, the joy, the excitement, the enthusiasm of living on a healthy planet. And do you know that that is already happening in some parts of the world today? People are being taught to go back to the balance that our Creator created in the first place. And what is that balance? 4 things. It is soil, plants, animals, and water. Now, if one of those are missing, the planet is out of balance and disasters occur. Now, it's that imbalance that has resulted in, do you know this? 2/3 of the land in the world has been turned into desert. And there's only 1/3 of the land there for 7 billion people to live on. Now, if you will listen to Alan Savory's talks, you will see and you will feel the disastrous effects of the land that has been poisoned by pesticides and chemicals. And the result of that is people for thousands of years and even today are being poisoned in body, mind and spirit. And the result of that is the creation of criminal minds and world disasters. Will you Google in Alan Savory's TED Talk? Savory is spelled S-A-V-O-R-Y. TED is T-E-D. Alan Savory's TED Talks. And meet the man who since 1984 has been teaching the world this holistic approach to regeneration. When you do that, you automatically go back to the balance that our Creator created in the first place. And you learn in a new way the nature's habitat, where animals live and move in herds. They bunch together to protect their young from their predators. And while they're on that patch of land, they're eating the tops of the nutritious growth, while at the same time urinating and manuring the earth, walking that into the soil, along with the nutritious young growth. When they've eaten all they want, they then move as a herd onto the next part of the planet. So we can see quite clearly, can't we, what the Creator was creating, the cycle He created, so that the planet is kept alive, serving us and we are serving the planet. Now the farmer today, he mimics nature. He brings his herd into a fenced-in paddock, and the animals eat the tops of that healthy grass that he's got there for them. They are urinating and manuring the earth, walking that into the soil, along with the nutritious young growth. And when the farmer knows it's time, he moves them into the next paddock and leaves that field to rest. Now the farmer at some stage had to make a determined effort to change his thinking, have a change of heart, and decide to heal the planet with a passion. So now he no longer talks about how much grass and growth he's got for his animals. He talks about time. How long does it take for the regrowth in this resting paddock? This farmer has decided to allow the animals to fertilize his land. Can you imagine that? It would be a bit scary for the farmer to start with, but then he would realize that the animals fertilize his land. He no longer has to do it. He no longer has to pay money to buy poisons to put on the land. He no longer has to pay money to pay the worker to put the poisons on the land. He no longer has to pay money to buy a machinery to put the poisons on the land. He allows the animals to fertilize his land. Now this farmer can see crystal clear water flowing through the streams through his farm, right through the midst of drought. And he also can see that he has moist soil through the midst of drought, which allows the roots of the plants to go deep down, down, down into the soil, bringing up nutrition and vitamins and minerals to grow strong, healthy plants for the animals that make them healthy, producing healthy food, feeding the consumer in healthy body, mind and spirit. The farmer now knows that and it stands for reason, that he has increased produce because he's farming right through the drought, right through most of the seasons. He also has an increase in income. So, please God, we never again will hear the farmer or see the farmer crying because he doesn't have enough feed for his animals. Never again will we see him crying for his family who are suffering from the lack of income. And we never again want to see him show us pictures of the land that he has helped turn into desert. This farmer, who has now got a passion for healing the planet, and he knows that God is never outdone in generosity. He knows that the money he's getting in that income is God's gift of love to him. Money can be God's gift of love, not when it's thrown at the farmers or at businesses and they're told to get on with it. All that is doing is digging the hole deeper that they're already in. Well, I'm talking about farmlands. And not all of you have farms, but you have gardens around your house. Some of you are living in high-rise buildings with balconies where you can put plant boxes and put soil into your boxes. And you will have a 3 to 4 year cycle where 1 year you can go down to the beach and bring up seaweed and put that into the soil, or you can go to the gardens and buy organic seaweed, always organic. And the next year you can put manure into your soil. The next year you can put the offal from the fish into the soil. The next year manure from the chooks, and you will grow comfrey. Comfrey has every vitamin and mineral that plants and animals need. And I put that into a 40-gallon drum, filled it with water and left it for 6 weeks. And then it was ready for me to spray it on everything. And you could almost see the withering plants holding up their heads, smiling and saying thank you. Well, this is what you will be doing. And when you do this, God put microorganisms into the soil. Those microorganisms for thousands of years have been killed. And their job was to grow plants. They are not there in the deserts to grow plants. But you will restore those microorganisms. And we call them God's little angels. You will put your hands into the soil. You will caress them, and they will caress you. The Savory Institute this year, their goal is to convert 1 billion hectares of this desert into good soil. When the plants are growing, the roots of the plants draw the carbon from the atmosphere into the roots because they need it. The Savory Institute are saying that they need thousands, maybe millions more animals to walk the earth, to walk the planet, because there are not enough animals now when man started to interfere with nature. Alan Savory was born in Zimbabwe, and the first thing he did in 1984 was to heal his own village. So he took this holistic approach to regeneration to this village, and he asked them to pull their land and to work as a community, which they have been doing ever since. We see in the video these bonny, beautiful young children, happy and healthy. We see the adults looking so happy. They say when they were starving, the only thing that kept them alive was when you provided food so that the Caritas could give them packets of food which kept them surviving. But they suffered from starvation, they suffered from death all around them for generations. Now they are happy, and they will tell you when they were starving, they never had peace in their hearts. They didn't have peace in their communities. Now they are so happy, saying, we now have peace. They can work with each other, and some of them become teachers, and they are teaching other villages, and then they teach other villages, and that is how it's going around the world, overcoming poverty, overcoming that destructive poverty. So what do we have now? We have the highest quality soil, feeding the consumer with the highest quality food, creating health in body, mind and spirit. No longer creating criminal minds, no longer creating world disasters. So I want to see the world and the churches and the world full of spirit-filled people following the directions of Pope Francis as we unite with God our Creator, and with a passion we help heal the planet. Will you look at and Google in Alan Savory's TED Talks? God bless you, and thank you for listening.